Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Chelsea, and welcome to
Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure, where we chronicle 50-something parents of a 5-year-old as we move from the USA to the UAE. As usual, you can follow us on our Instagram account, which has the same title as this podcast.
As most of you know, we're not in the UAE at the moment. We departed fairly quickly after the war in the Middle East broke out. We have plenty to discuss about our journey getting out of the UAE, the various places we've landed, and what comes next for us. We will get into all those details on our next episode.
But one of those landing places is Germany, where we spent time with my second cousin Whitney and her family, who generously took us in for more than a week while we tried to get our bearings.
Whitney and her husband Anny have been on their own adventure, moving from Ghana to Germany 2 years ago. So we decided to make them the podcast's first ever interview subjects.
Yay!
Woohoo! Whitney and Anny shared their personal stories as well as the challenges and benefits of relocating from West Africa to Western Europe.
Here's the interview. We hope you enjoy it.
We would like to welcome Whitney and Anny to Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure. Thank you for being our first ever interview subjects.
And Whitney is my second cousin, and they have been here on their own adventure for the last couple of years because we are here in Germany. Thanks to you for kind of hosting us for a little bit while we get our bearings with our dealing with our situation.
Yep, this is an opportunity for us to get to know them a lot better, just being here with them. And our kid has been really thriving here with their kids. So we've been really, really grateful to have a place to shelter from Dubai during this crazy time. But they're really interesting people. So we wanted to have them on the podcast to see if they can share what their journeys have been.
Right, because their adventure is I would say, farther advanced than ours.
Oh, yeah, like
For
like 100 times more.
Yes. Most recently, though, you guys moved from Ghana to Germany. But we can maybe go back a little bit first and start with a little bit of background. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your individual journeys that brought you together in the first place?
Do you have an hour, Nick? I mean, but first off, thank you guys so much. We're honored to be your first guest. That's really cool. And we're so happy to have you here. We've been having a great time, and it's great to spend more time with family. So yes, I'm Whitney, and I guess I'm starting. So
yeah, sure.
Yes. I am originally from Oregon, but mostly since 2010, I've been living outside of America. So I've spent time in the UAE, which is really interesting because that's where you guys have been.
Mm-hmm.
I also spent a couple years in India, and then found my way to Ghana when I was setting up my nonprofit to work with children with autism there. And then through that process, I met my husband. So we lived in Ghana. Well, I was there for about 6.5 years before we moved here. So that's kind of my round the world journey for the past 16 years. There was a little bit of time in Seattle as well during that. But yeah, what about you, Anny?
Yeah. My name is Anny, and Osabute. Yeah. So I was born in Ghana. I come from a family of 6 on my mom's side, 2 boys and 4 girls. Unfortunately, I lost one of my sisters. Both parents are late, but like I said, I grew up with a single parent, but it was a very happy one because my mother was very tough, very independent-minded, and but she also gave me a lot of freedom to navigate my way through processes. I was growing up. We didn't have much, obviously, and I had to spend most of my time doing fishing, which I did for 10 years, and then I found myself back into a classroom.
Which is why your handle is
Pram Fisherman.
Pram Fisherman.
Exactly. So it's like more like respecting the culture and heritage, because my forebears, I have uncles who are still in the business as well, and occasionally that's why I'm very much attached to my village. That's Pram. So it's a fishing village. Yeah, and I went to university at the in Cape Coast, where I met Whitney, ironically. Then I went to Columbia University, in New York. But my background is mainly in media communications and arts and culture. Yeah, and a bit of activism. But that one is pretty much quiet. And I'm obsessed with my football club, Arsenal. That's how I got to hear about Nick and yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have bonded over our mutual fandom for Arsenal.
Yes. If anybody here didn't know, Nick is a gigantic Arsenal fan,
Yeah.
but Annie might be even bigger.
Yeah, I think that may be. I do, for sure.
I think he might be.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have one more question to bring you two together.
Mhm.
You said you were in Ghana for 6.5 years before moving here. How long were you there by yourself before meeting Annie?
Funny enough, I was only there about maybe a month or so
Oh,
when I met him. Yeah, and it's a random story, but basically I was out with some friends and I was at this high life music place playing live music. It's a Ghanaian music with a lot of horns. It's really fun. And I bumped into him in the crowd on purpose. And here we are, and 2 kids and another country later. So yeah, I was only there for I think I had been there about a month and a half when I ran into him. And at that time, you were living in Accra, and I was in Cape Coast, so we're about 3 hours apart. On Monday, it's our 7-year anniversary for our wedding anniversary.
7 years.
Yeah, which is just like wild to think about. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Wait, Annie, did you know she bumped into you on purpose?
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, I think the whole thing was kind of strange, but maybe it was meant to be. Because like, I'd come back from the US, but also going back because I had a job plan in Puerto Rico, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so purely working environments, communications and stuff like that. And then, so I was speaking to one of my friends, for his kids and also I'm a big high life fan. I like high life music. So there was a program in Cape Coast that I'd come to cover with a friend. And then while we were there, my friend was like, oh, he's tired, he want to go back. So he has a car. So I went to drop him off at campus and I drove back just to sit and enjoy. And I was enjoying the music. But I saw her and the friends though, but I didn't really
So you saw me before I bumped
No,
into you?
not you, but I've seen
Hey!
I've seen some people like sitting in the corner, you know, it's like because I come from this way and where they were sitting. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were lined up on a path and I wanted to use that side. So in my head I was like, these guys, can't they figure out that this is a pathway for people to walk and they just sit there?
So my friends and I were blocking the way. Okay.
So I left and I was in the crowd talking, FaceTiming my friends, kids, and they were like, oh, Uncle Anny, when are you coming back? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I'll be coming back. I have like 30 more weeks to come. Like, okay. Then the next thing I hear, boom, somebody bumped into me. My first thing was like, excuse me, lady, don't you have eyes? But then I was like, okay, let me just calm down. And then...
There might have been a little tequila involved.
Yeah.
So,
She said, yeah. And so like, and then I think we moved away. We started talking. She gave me a number. I didn't even remember her name. She gave me a card or something.
No, you gave me your card.
I gave her my card, I think, and then I saved her name, the autism lady, my phone. And then we just parted company, and that was it. And I think the same week, right? She said she was going
3 days later, I was passing through Accra on my way to go to London for a conference.
Yeah.
So. And
then she was like, and she said, okay, no problem. So I met up with her, and we continue our chat till we are here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you continued chatting, from what I understand, over the phone in London.
Yeah,
while
in London,
she was
we
in
talked
London.
like
a lot. We talk every night, like we've known each other for a very long time. And,
it was really nice.
And then I think the funny thing is, I went to, so I was living in Accra, and then I'll go to Pram Pram to visit my siblings. So one day I took her with me, and we drove in a public transport. It's called Trotro. Trotro is wild, it's crazy. It's not like the buses here. And so I was like, oh, let me pass by my sister's place. I didn't think anything about it.
And I'm freaking out, like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm gonna meet his sister.
Oh.
Like, I just met this guy. Like, we barely have started dating, and like, he's like, yeah, I have to pass by my sister's house. He's not thinking anything about it, and I'm freaking out, thinking like, this is not something I'm ready for. But
So we went, and my sister came. I told myself, oh, this is my friend. We're just passing by. We're just heading back to Accra. She was like, okay, cool. And then we left, and I think the following day she texted me. She was like, I like the lady, and I've
Like your sister said, I like the lady.
I've spoken to my older brother. I have an older brother, Ite, about that you met, and I've met this lady, and I think and she was like, if you're interested in her, I think you should pursue it. I was like, oh, I don't know, but we just met, we're just talking, that's all. And
so the family got on my side from day one.
Yeah.
So every day, then my brother also called me because I think my brother was also like, I think it's about time started being busy, settling down and stuff, because they all thought I was not going to get married or because I was so much engrossed in work and that's what I wanted to do and help the community and things like that. Then my brother was like, oh, my younger sister told him about this lady I came with.
Oh, it became a family conversation.
Yeah. And I said, and in my head I was like, why are you guys rushing? You've never met her, and you don't even know who she is. I don't even know much about her and things like that. Yeah, and then I think one day she also made me speak to her parents. Yeah, on the video. I think we were at a friend's funeral, mom's funeral, Angela, remember?
Yeah.
And then I spoke to them briefly, and like I didn't think much about it anyway. But we were just like, okay, let's just be there. If it happens, it happens. And at the time, I got a job in Ghana.
Oh.
And I was contemplating whether to take it or not, because it's a public service job. And the nature of Ghana public service is like, you don't take it, you lose your soul. If you're not prepared and you want to chase the money will come, but you also lose your values and things like that. And I wasn't ready
because
for
of
that.
like corruption.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have to play by off the books and things. And I didn't want that. So I was consulting a lot of friends I know, lawyers, or people in the media that I've worked with, that I've known, and to seek their opinion about what they think. And then my boss will approach me. I had a conversation with him. I said, look, I'm coming. I'll take the job on the basis that I will have the free hand to work, to protect you, but you also need to help me. Because there are a lot of party fanatics who will say, no, he's not doing our bidding. And he said, I'll give you 100%. So when he said that, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Give me 3 months. If it works, fine. And I think I went in there. And I was there for 7 years, right? Till we moved in. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It turned out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were some very wild things.
Yeah, we don't need to get into all that.
But eventually it was a
But it was a good-
fantastic
good
moment
thing.
for me,
Okay.
because it also, like the money that came in also helped me
Yeah.
to reach out to the community a lot. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I think in a way, like, it was great opportunity for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and fast forward to those 7 years later, and you guys make the move to Germany. Tell us about what brought you here.
I think
Well,
Whitney.
ultimately, we came for a job for me. We love our life in Ghana, but we're looking at that time for something a little different for our family, looking at some other opportunities. And I happened to get an email from the board that I'm certified through, and they do job postings. And it was like, oh, move to Germany, work 30 hours a week, and it had all these like perks, like, the things listed out. And I'm thinking like, that kind of doesn't sound too bad. And since we were already contemplating a potential move, I applied, and when I got the job, we knew that it was going to take time to really plan to be able to come, and luckily my employers were willing to wait 9 months for me to move.
Wow.
Because of my nonprofit there, I also had to get a lot of things in place to make sure it was going to be okay, and have local staff fully running it by the time I was transitioning out. So I'm really thankful that they allowed me that time. We needed that time also to really get things ready for the boys as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we kind of went right over the fact that you run a nonprofit in Ghana.
Yeah.
And that is still running.
It's still running.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to also work a little bit in Nigeria as well, but
Okay.
right now we're just in Ghana. So we have a school in Cape Coast for children with autism. And then in the capital, Accra, we also have a consulting program where we work with schools and families and or different organizations. So
Okay.
it's working with the family, with the children, but also working on raising awareness for autism because there's a lot of stigmas out there that
Yeah.
impact that community.
Yep. Awesome.
So I have a question. You said 30 hours a week. Is that just your job, or is that how things generally are
That
here
was
in Germany?
originally originally to be my job, but I got here and I don't know. I ended up being lucky, but also with my experience, they wanted me in a different position. So I'm in a director position. So mine is 40 hours now, but other people who are the therapists do have 30-hour work weeks. It's not a norm here in Germany. It's usually more of a 40-hour work week, but they do very much value work-life balance. So you're not getting calls in the off hours. You're not expected to answer emails. When you're out of office, like we have had times when we are dealing with different immigration stuff, and when we first came, and we email the immigration people, and the reply email would say, "I am on holiday. Your email will not be read." And so like they're very much like, it's not like, oh, America will be like, oh, I'm out for these 2 days and I'll get back to you, yada yada yada. So it's very much big on work-life balance, which is a big contrast to working in the States from what I remember.
Amazing.
And how, Chelsea, does that compare to working in the UAE for you?
I think the UAE is very much like the States.
Okay.
I think there is very much a focus on hustle, and get things done. Now, I don't think that my principal, my boss, expects me to check my email all weekend long, and I don't.
That's great.
So I do think if you land under the right person, you won't necessarily have that expectation. But the UAE is known for being a hustle culture, and there are a lot of people who love that. They thrive in it. They moved there for that. At my age, I'm not looking to hustle all the time. I'm trying to slow it down, people.
Yeah, and I
Slow
think
it down.
also we have children of
Small
similar
children.
age, right?
Yep. Mhm.
And at this stage in life, there were many years where I was all about the hustle,
Yep.
but it comes to a point when you're like, no, I need more time for
Yep.
my kids, and I think that was a big piece of our
Yep.
move here to Germany, was also to have more time for our children.
That's so great. And I'm seeing it. You guys do have good time with your children. Like, they know you're present.
Thank you.
Okay, so
It sometimes drive me crazy,
what? No, I wouldn't know about that. Okay, so you came to Germany, which is a completely different language than any language you already spoke. So let's talk about that. Did either of you speak the language when you came?
I didn't know anything but Dankeschön.
Yeah. Did you know any language?
I didn't know about the Morgans and stuff because I've been here in 2006
Okay.
I think prior to the World Cup. So I was on a scholarship program with the Deutsche Welle. That's the main German public television section.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're covering things out of the World Cup. So
How many? That was like a couple week long program.
Yeah, there was
or-
a couple.
So you picked like some few phrases
Yeah, so
during
they-
that time.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they give us a book, a small book that But once I got back to Accra, I just
Went
forgot
out of your
about
head.
it.
But
Yeah.
you kind of remembered it, it sounds like, a little bit.
Yeah, but that for me it's like even like moving out of Ghana, maybe you could have. I would say maybe okay, I'm going to the US, which is almost like the likely destination,
Yeah.
or maybe go to the UK, or maybe
Maybe for
Canada
people
or something.
who don't know about Ghana is an English speaking country.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, good
So
point.
it's a former British colony. English is one of the main languages. So most people, I think, when we said we were leaving, expected that we were going to the States,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
with me being American. So I think when we were coming here, that was a bit of a shock. And then
Wait,
we didn't
Germany?
really know any language.
Okay.
not at all.
So now, how has that been? How is it settling in? Whitney came first, and you were here for
2 months.
2 months without your family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how did it go not knowing the language?
I think for the most part, the younger generation here, I would say at least 40 and below, probably know a decent amount of English. I didn't run into too much trouble getting different things done that I needed to. You also have so many great technologies these days with like Google Translate and stuff, but it's still intimidating. I did a bunch of Duolingo before I came, so I thought I was feeling good, and then like I heard people speak and I thought I know nothing. So it's tough. Yeah.
Okay, and then go ahead.
Yeah. So how is adapting to the German language going? Do you find what are you doing to kind of learn it, and how are you and your children doing with it?
Yeah, as for the kids, because they're in a kita, so they are great. I mean, the initial stage when we came, obviously they didn't understand the language, like new environment. But for them as kids, they don't really care. And we're fortunate that there was a kid across from the street from us who could speak some English. So he bonded with the children a lot, and we used to go to the park and play football. So
He would be teaching them some
The
German
German.
things.
Yeah. So before they went to they started school. So when we came initially, like the paperwork and all of that kind of slowed things down a bit. So I had to be with them, you know, and so sometimes we can take the train and just go maybe to Koblenz or go to the city, let them play around and things, and then we'll come back. That was basically the routine.
Okay. For how long did you do that?
A couple of months, right? I don't know, but I think Jack started school in May. I think they started school pretty much around the same time.
So it was at least
okay.
like 3-ish months.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, because I didn't know until today, Germany's school system goes basically all year. They have short breaks
Pretty much.
throughout the year, or 2 to 3 week breaks throughout the year. So they don't have like a big summer break. So starting at May really does make sense.
Yeah.
You can actually keep
Yeah,
going.
they did okay, and children are so incredible in how they can soak up language. So both of the boys are doing really well with learning, and their teachers, especially our oldest, he is pretty fluent in it in
Amazing.
the classroom, and they say that he speaks it 95% of the time. I have not done very well learning the language because my work is all in English, so that makes it a little more difficult, but I need to try to make more time. But you were lucky in that you could take some of the intensive language classes.
Yeah, I think part of the integration program is also because you get a document from the BAMF, that's the state, from the Ausländer Behörde, that's the immigration office.
Okay.
That you need to take like a language program. you
Okay.
know. So
To get your visa. Or
No, as part of your integration program. So you need to register with the center to learn the language.
just
and all
everyone
of that.
has
Yeah,
to.
so
Okay.
maybe at some point, if you really want to transition to become a national, whatever,
Okay,
they will
a
require
citizen.
some of those
So
things.
yeah, when I do hope to go for citizenship at some point, and when I do go for that, I will have to show that I have proof of completing some level of language courses.
Okay.
So anyone out there listening, if you're thinking about coming to Germany, know that you're going to have some homework to do.
Yes.
yeah, because you did. How many months did you do?
I did, I think 6 or 7 months in between, and
6
then
or 7 months.
yeah, of German language to the B1 level, but I did the A2 exams. So
Okay.
they are great. So there's A1, A2, and then B1, B2.
Okay.
So for me, it's like at least I should have A2 or B1.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like you can have a conversation. Then after that, then you can have what they call the living in Deutschland or living in Germany, where they walk you through the phases of the politics, the judiciary,
like
virtually
understanding how the
everything.
law,
Exactly. works.
the legal system
It's
works
a
here.
civics.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
civics
Right.
course,
Okay.
yeah.
Within the state itself, and then
Okay.
the general Deutschland public. Yeah.
Okay. So the first step is language, and then they go through the next step. So
Mm-hmm.
you did 6 to 7 months, 5 days a week,
5 days a week.
4 hours a day.
4 hours
Wow.
a day.
It was
Yeah.
intensive.
I might
yeah.
even be able to learn language
Yeah.
if I got that much time.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know where I'm
Same.
going to get the time.
Yeah.
Okay, correction. You're not getting homework. You're getting a whole class.
You're
You're
getting-
going to school for a year.
Yeah.
And then you bring homework every day.
Oh yeah,
there
he
is
had
homework.
he
And
would stay
homework.
up late doing homework.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You need to write letters in German.
Oh my
You
goodness.
need to go to the class and do presentation in German.
Well, and now you're trying to teach us German, and it's just
Yeah.
like, woo, over our heads.
Yeah, but I think the good thing is also that the school kind of gives you the basics.
Okay.
Then once you are out of that, you have some level of appreciation of the word. So once you get onto the street,
Then you have to just practice.
yeah, then you can practice by consistent hearing and things. So for me, one of the things I also do is that anytime I'm going to pick the kids, I try to spend time with their friends who are German kids. So that's how, and I pay attention to what they say.
Okay.
And then there's this older woman in the school as well. That anytime I go there, I spend like 5-10 minutes with her just having a conversation. Most of the things she will say, I may not understand everything, but I pick words. So for example, like this time when I call, I ask her, Vegate SDA, Mama, like how are you doing, Mommy? And then she said, oh, good, I'm good. And I say, then she will ask Zelba. Zelba is like yourself, but in different forms also in German, you say,
We don't need a full German
no,
lesson now.
I'm just
I
giving
know.
you. No, they have like on dear. So they have different ways of responding to them.
Okay.
So I keep coming up with new words in between the conversation. So it also helped me a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, speaking of your kids in school, let's talk a little bit about the schooling here. First of all, how old were your kids when you first came here to Germany?
2 and 4.
Yeah, 2 and 4,
Yeah.
Okay,
like
so-
2.5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which now looking back, I'm like, our youngest was a baby.
Yeah.
Truly,
Like he was
truly.
so little.
He is a toddler still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys really got the full experience of basically having a young child here in Germany and what that process is like. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what it's like from a school standpoint. Like, how does it work?
Was there childcare needed?
Um,
What are the kind of costs you have with that? How does that compare to, say, what people would have experienced back in the States?
Well, I think it's a bit of a culture shock when you first start, especially with the kindergarten here. Kindergarten as in kind of preschool and kindergarten is that kita that the boys are in. In the States, there's such a push for academics. I have a nephew who is 3 months older than our oldest boy, and he's reading. And here in Germany, they focus more on being a part of a community, right? Like how to socialize, how to problem solve, all these amazing things. And they're like, we don't want to even touch academics. That's for the first grade. That's something that we do later. If the kids are interested, they definitely have lessons and things they're learning about. They learn about the solar system or different things like that. But it's not like, let's sit down, let's drill them on phonics and math and all of these pieces. They incorporate a little bit of things into their day, but for the most part, it's about how to be a part of a community. And it's, at first I was like, okay, they're not behind. This is actually, like my first degree is actually child development. And I'm like, this is actually what is more developmentally appropriate for the kids at this age. So that has been a bit of a culture shock. And I think coming from Ghana too, where they do push a lot of academics early. When our youngest was 1.5 years, we would get homework. And I was like, he does not need to do coloring homework. Like, this is silly. Our 3-year-old at the time was getting French homework sent home. And I'm like, this is wild. But when we first started, Jay, I'm going to use their initials. Jay, our youngest, wasn't of age to be in the kita in the kindergarten. So he went to what's called a Tagsmudger, like a daycare in someone's home. So they're approved by the state. They can have up to 5 kids. And the cost is significantly different from the States. People are going to kind of just be like, their jaws are going to drop when I say this. But for the whole month, and he would be there from early morning until about 2, right? 2 o'clock, you'd grab him.
2:30, yeah.
It was about 70 euros a month for him to be there.
Okay, so that's not too different from what we had with our child doing that age, kind of home home care.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on the books for that, so maybe you could give a comparison, Chelsea.
We paid between $1,100 and $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
Dollars. Yeah.
Which I hear is actually a really good deal.
It was a pretty
I've
good
heard
deal.
of other friends
Yeah.
talking about like 2,000.
Yeah. And it was
such.
amazing care.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you were explaining earlier was that Germany itself is paying.
Yeah, so the city pays that Tagsmother, that day mother, for taking care of these children. So the money that we are paying is just for food coverage for the month.
That's incredible.
And then now they're both at the Kita here, the kindergarten here, and we pay about 50 euros a month per kid. And that's just for feeding stuff. And that includes breakfast and lunch every single day. And they could be there from 7:15 in the morning and technically until 4 p.m. We don't have them there that long. But yeah.
That's incredible. And so school starts when?
In the morning time, you mean? I think it starts by 7:15.
7:15.
Or it starts at 7:15? Okay.
So parents can drop their kids.
They can
drop their kids, but when do they actually like start their day?
I think they have like their Morgan time around like 9.
Yeah, so that's when they sit, they congregate. So
They
basically
do
they
like a
congregate
circle
around
time.
Yeah.
circle
Okay.
time and all that. Yeah.
So they just have that, but they can drop off any time before that, starting at 7:15. Amazing, incredible.
I think one thing that we really love about Germany is how they think about the family. They really do. And even certain job positions, when you're applying, they take into consideration like if you have kids or not and when you may need to be off at certain times. But yeah.
Wow, and we will continue to take our jaws off the floor every time you talk about Germany benefits. Like, wow. Okay, so overall, you like the school, is what I'm hearing, and you appreciated the early child care situation, and it's very economical, like you can afford it. Okay, so now let's talk about other things without kids. Where do you like to go in the region without children? Oh, do you ever get to do that?
Not often.
Okay, if you could do it. Or have you done it like maybe somebody was visiting? Is there anywhere you've been that is a favorite place to go without kids?
To be hard. Yeah, to be hard.
I mean, I think the region we're in, it's quite beautiful with nature, and we do like hiking and stuff, and so there are a lot of outdoor hiking places that we would like to explore more. And some of them you can't do with kids, right?
Yeah.
So that,
Okay.
But we take the kids everywhere. Like
Yeah.
they're little adventurers.
They
like
are.
they tag along
Very
with us,
adaptable.
and but yeah, for the most part, we get some time here and there with friends watching them, but they kind of tag along for most of the adventures.
I love it. Now, favorite places to go with your kids? You've given me a lot of recommendations. Where are your favorite places to go?
Yeah, I mean, I love to go to the city with them.
Yeah.
You know, because like in the summer they like to run after pigeons. You know, what I think is that like they go to the city, and I think one of the things about Germany is like they are good with the kids. So it's like they allow them to explore. So where you as a parent, you're like you want to kind of pull back a bit on the child. They're like, no, let them explore. You know, so we go to the city, they see this person, then based on whatever the person is doing, then they give the person their name. So when we came, there was a guy who worked at a pizza. We used to go to the pizza shop, and they called him the pizza man. To the extent
But
that
I
even
think they
when
called like
I walk-
every man there weren't there like 3 men that they all would call the pizza man?
Yeah, and then so it's like to the extent that the guys know the kids by name and they know them.
I love that.
So recently I met one of them who is left their business and is doing something else. And the first thing he asked me, how are the children doing? I was like, wow, so for me it's a lot. And we like to also sometimes just get into the train and just ride around and get to see them, and I think the initial stage is when the paperwork and all that. I was a bit frustrated because I was working actively. I come, you don't work, you're home every day. It's psychologically it's kind of. Then one day I just took them out. We were going to Koblenz. They were sitting in the train. They were very excited about.
That's a nearby town, right?
Yeah, nearby town.
Okay.
On our way back, we were very excited. I was like, if I could see the kids are really excited, and so I need to kind of psychologically wire myself to say that, it's like, you're going to ruin it for the kids. They just get on to the ride. And yeah, for me, so it's cool.
And they are navigating the bus. They're very comfortable on the city bus, right? You
Yeah,
take them
they
into the
even
city
tell
on
me,
the
oh,
bus.
you take bus 17 and then you change to bus 8 to go to town. They go to town more with daddy that way. So they know some of the buses, and then yeah, and I think one of the favorite places I like to take them is just different playgrounds here. The German playgrounds are awesome.
Amazing, yeah.
They just have. I was telling Nick this earlier that they have kind of some structures with not a lot of safety stuff that you would see in the States, but it really makes children into little problem solvers.
Yes.
And then you mentioned going to a playground, I think today, where there was a lot of like engineering type stuff built into it.
Right. I mean, it was like, as I was telling you, it felt very German to me. It was very like, hey, this is very organized and kind of structured and getting you prepared for being an efficient engineering type person.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we find a lot of different things to do. We don't like to be in the house. We're always out and about with them.
So fun. And they really are thriving. Like you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes when the weather is cold, they want to go out and like.
We also live right next to the forest, which is great. So we go out into the forest a lot, and they have little binoculars now to do bird watching, and so yeah, they're outdoor boys. But they were like that in Ghana too. We were just always outside. So
And there really is hiking everywhere.
yes,
Like everywhere you go.
yeah.
So we find ourselves on our podcast talking about the food in the UAE a fair amount.
All the time.
Yeah. So I guess the next question would be, so how have you found the food here in Germany?
Bland. I don't know.
I think Germans like what they call Kartoffel salad, like the
Potato salad.
yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah, this potato
Kartoffel
salad.
salad.
Yeah, Kartoffel salad. They talk about it a lot, and then like they like fleisch,
Like
meat stuff.
meat,
Oh.
lots of
Vegetable, yeah,
sausages.
sausages,
Potatoes and
things.
meat.
Yeah, that's what they like, and then they
Okay.
like their beer.
Yeah,
Well, of
that's
course.
we went to pizza today, and actually it was quite good.
Yeah.
And the pizza place was a lunch special, and it was a large pizza and a soft drink or a beer
Yeah.
Great.
for the same price.
Yeah.
And we were like, what?
Yeah.
I
exactly.
will say that beer and wine are extremely cheap here. Like you can get a
Yes.
decent bottle of wine for about €3,
That's
which
crazy.
is wild. And beer. So sometimes beer is cheaper than water.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And we are surrounded by vineyards.
Yes.
They are everywhere.
yeah, this area is known for white wines.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful with all the vineyards.
I mean, and I wonder, does that have anything to do with the cost of wine, or is it just that's
No, I think it's Europe. I think
just
in
Europe,
general, I
okay.
hear that in other places too, that it's just, what would be like a 30 bottle wine back home would just be like a couple euros here.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, how does the cost of living compare to Ghana?
Yeah, I think before we came, like things were tough economically. Things were pretty much tough, even for us who like have work that we go to, and then you live in a community where people don't have much, and to see people struggle and come to you every day for support. You can,
Oh, they're asking for
Yes,
support a lot.
yeah,
I
you can
see.
see, and we are extremely happy to also be of service to people because it's a community thing.
Yeah.
I have, you have,
And I know you're still doing that from
yeah,
here.
that's how we've always lived. That's how I was brought up, eventually, and things like that. And that's what I also saw in Dufa when I went, and there was unfortunate fires.
Dufour is the community I grew up in
Yeah.
Oregon. It's a town of like 500 people. So it's very heavy on that sense of
You
community.
you help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, things were, but I was under no illusion that, for example, I was coming to Germany to see money with that mindset that people think once you get to Europe, everything is rosy and things. But in terms of food wise, I think relatively it's cheaper compared to Ghana.
Yeah, I feel like we
Interesting.
spend a lot
Yeah,
less here on groceries than we did in
Ghana.
Ghana.
That is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I just would not have guessed it.
Yeah, so that's basically one thing. Sometimes I sit back and I go to the supermarket and I get it and I make deductions and things. There's a guy at my workplace. It's a guy. It's also Ghanaian, and we always talk about the expensiveness. And he was telling me a story of how he went back to Ghana and went to a restaurant and he
Yeah,
converted
even
the
I
bill.
think restaurants
and
are cheaper
yeah,
here.
They
And
are cheaper. I
yeah.
couldn't believe how little we maybe paid today.
Yeah, and he said when he did the calculations for a rice bowl that he ate with fish, he paid almost like, if he converts, almost like 70 euros. Meanwhile, you have the same amount and you will pay like 3 euros 40 cents or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is how.
That's a
how
very
wild
big
it is.
difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Goodness.
yeah. I mean, I think there's always
You know.
different ways to do things in Ghana, but even when you're going to the actual market, right, and getting the produce and stuff, because of the economic crash that happened after COVID, a
Yeah.
lot of things just prices surged a
It got
lot.
worse.
Um,
Okay.
But yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah,
It's a
and I
big
think
difference.
that there's also no price control. It's like in Ghana, like two people be sitting here and the same thing has different prices.
Okay. Oh.
So it's like it's a matter of, okay, if you don't like, you can move to the next bit. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so life is somehow more affordable here.
Yeah.
I know it's
It
so
doesn't always make
surprising.
sense,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But that's what's happening. And now, how does it compare to the U.S. cost of living? Well, actually, I don't even know if you need to answer that. You've
I think
answered
you
it
guys,
already.
but I think you guys, I mean, you went to the grocery store today.
Yeah.
And I am a little bit more removed from knowing what is common prices right now in the States. So what would you say? What was your experience
Cost
today?
of living is more than groceries. It's also childcare
Yes.
and rent.
Oh,
and
rent
so
is
forth.
significantly less here too.
Okay. Oh,
But
that's interesting.
also salaries in general in Europe are a lot less.
Right.
So I know like I could make a lot more money in America, but I'm not all about making money. It's
Right.
about having that balance in life. So, but the cost of rent is, you can get a place with a couple of bedrooms for around €1,000 a month. So it depends on where you're at, which city you're in.
Okay. And then your salary usually matches that. So that's really interesting. Yeah, no, I would say the rent is extremely expensive, and we're from Seattle, so it's pricey
Yes.
there. It's a lot less where my brother lives in Kansas City, for instance. But no, just kind of reading like what things cost, looking things up, and going, whoa, €1,000, and that's even less in dollars. That's kind of insane to me, but it's true. Like we also made quite a bit more. Well, some people make quite a bit more, some do not, but the rents don't change.
Yeah.
The rents don't adjust for that.
Yes.
But it's very interesting to me that it's actually cheaper than it was in Ghana. That part is, I think, would be surprising to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, are you okay with us revealing where we are right now?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sure.
we're in,
Not the address.
but we're in the town of Trier, which is in what part of Germany?
Rhineland Falls
Rhineland Falls,
region, but basically we border Luxembourg, which not everyone knows where Luxembourg is either. But basically we're over on the west side, so we're very close to Belgium and France.
Right. And you're like if I were looking at a map, which I was today, Germany's pretty big, and then you've got Belgium, and then France is pretty big, and then you've got the Netherlands up here, which is a little bit smaller, but they're all kind of in this vicinity
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
And so, what are the things about this region, the Trier, that you would say are kind of unique or make it a little more noticeable as far as Germany goes?
Well, Trier is the oldest city in Germany. It was actually founded by the Romans. So there's a bunch of Roman ruins here, which I was not expecting. And I think that has been pretty cool and unique about the area. We haven't traveled extensively through Germany, so I think it's kind of hard to compare to other areas of Germany. But I know like the vineyards in the Mosel River area. And then the Roman piece. What do you think, Annie?
Yeah, I think basically like that. And I think it's green. It's kind of a laid back. Yeah, very small town.
Okay.
pretty much a city, but it also has a lot of influx of tourists.
Mm.
Yeah, all year through, whether winter season or, but in the summer you have lots of.
Yeah,
tourists
you
visit.
do. You
Cool.
get different river cruises that come down
Yeah,
from different areas, and people coming to see like Porto Negro, which is the Black Gate from the Roman time that's 2,000 years old, right?
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
I know.
cool. So cool.
yeah, and then you have the famous Karl Marx.
Oh, right.
Also comes from
That
this town,
Anny
yeah.
took us to the Karl Marx house on our first full day here, and we
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed. I was so interested. I took 8 million photos to go back and study, which I haven't done yet. But I did read some of it while we were there, and it really was a fascinating look at his story and really how much he's been manipulated over the years
Yeah.
to meet different people's desires,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah, it was a fascinating thing. I didn't know he was from here. Just knew he was German.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like casually just waiting for the bus underneath one of the places he grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The
Yeah,
bus stop
yeah.
is like right underneath Karl Marx's home, childhood
Yeah.
home. Yeah. Okay, so how did you pick Trier? Or Trier.
We didn't. We were going to be in a different location. So with the company that I work for, they have different clinics across Germany. And we were originally supposed to be up near the Netherlands. And when I first arrived, they said, hey, can you go down to Trier? Near Trier is where my clinic is. We need someone to open that clinic. And could you be there for 2 weeks, just getting it up and going? And then if you like it, you can stick around, or you can come back to Aachen area, which is up north near the Netherlands. And came down here, and I was like, I actually like this a lot better. It's more hilly, beautiful. Up there is a bit more flat, which, Netherlands, it's pretty flat.
Yeah.
It was more bigger city stuff up there. And I don't know, I like the idea of being close to Luxembourg too. I thought it created extra opportunities for us as a family and for Annie and stuff. So that's how we ended up here. It was just kind of random. I didn't really get to choose where I was going to go. But I'm happy we're here. I know we have friends that are closer to that location that live in Belgium. So sometimes we wish like, oh, it would have been nice if we were there, because we would be just an hour drive from them instead of 2.5. But other than that, I think this has been a really nice location for us. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I don't know about Trier at all, though. But here we are. I didn't know about Trier at all. I know about the major cities and things, but this one, no.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
See, that says so much.
Yeah.
You love it.
Now you mentioned, it was your job that kind of got you here, but you are still connected with your organization back in Ghana. How do you manage that from this distance?
Yeah, so I think it was really important to, ultimately, when you're running a nonprofit like that, to really succeed, it does need to be led locally. I couldn't have come here and tried to still be like the main overseer of everything. And you really have to have those boots on the ground to make sure that things stay solid. And I think there were a lot of steps we did leading up to that to build local capacity and support Ghanaians to get certified to be able to oversee this type of work there. And so that's something that I'm really proud of. So there were a lot of steps, and because we had those 9 months, it was very much a transition period. So now it's just weekly check-ins, clinical support, and then more of the operation side of things, doing payroll pieces like that, fundraising, those pieces. So I miss it, but it was time for it to shift, and it's still shifting and evolving. But I'm happy that it's been able to keep the doors open and keep going. I don't know how long it will keep going, but in the process, lots of people have come through our doors and been able to get trained up in applied behavior analysis to be able to support. And this weekend is the first ever conference for our field in Ghana. And so that's super exciting that
so
now
cool.
there's like a local organization and they're supporting others learning more about the field to be able to impact more children. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm really proud of the team there.
And how big was that field in Ghana when you first entered?
Well, when I moved there, I was the only certified person. I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I was the only person with that background in all of West Africa, which is the size of the United States at the time that I moved there. So that was pretty big. There were some people that had been practicing ABA, but they themselves hadn't really gone through the coursework and practicum and gotten certified. Yeah. So, this is where it's been able to come to a different level now of having local clinicians who, have that background to make sure that the work is being done is more ethical and, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then I know Annie's also connected to an organization. You said arts and culture were your background. Yeah. And so you have this big festival. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how you still stay connected with it from here?
Yeah, so it's called Charlotte Street Art Festival, and Charlotte is a local slang for flip-flops, Yeah. So the co-director, it's Machaikwe, that I used to work with in a newspaper somewhere in the early 2000s, and then we stayed friends and things like that. So Charlotte is actually his master's thesis at the Institute of Journalism, where he trained as a PR. And the main idea was for us to realize that at the time we had, when we were working on a newspaper, we used to organize midweeks on Wednesdays, what is called Bless the Mic. So we bring aspiring poets and things from the Accra and go to this basement in Osu. Osu is one of the cities in the city of Accra. That's the Ghanaian capital. So we're there from 9 p.m. till the morning, and poetry, music, and all of that. And then from there, we migrated to a talk conversation. And alongside, we realized that we have a lot of artist friends who could not put their works out in galleries and things like that. So let us be disruptive, small, and see if we can get them to come onto the street. Because once they're on the street, people loved it. So we did a first pilot in Jamestown. Jamestown is a former colonial settlement for the British, the Danes and the rest of them. So we did first, second year, third year, and I think the fourth year it peaked.
Wow.
And it's huge. It's people
amazing.
Come from all around the world.
Well, Beyonce shot one of her videos in front of our murals. We've had Hollywood A-listers come walk through the festival. This year will be the 16th. No, this will be the 15th year.
Wow.
For the festival, yeah.
That's incredible.
And so we're still going strong. The idea is also to move it to Europe. We've not been able to make any headway yet, But
have it also in Europe or move it to Europe?
Have it some section in Europe.
Okay, so both places.
Not necessarily.
Not
you can't take it away from Ghana.
No. But just I think to replicate it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But in a different format, Basically work with Ghanaian artists who live in Europe, and they are in two different forms, but the organization will change structure and all of that. So it's also a way of trying to sort of support the creative side of things in Ghana as well.
So important.
Yeah.
So then how do you stay connected with that organization and that festival from here?
Oh yeah, so basically we have a platform thanks to social media, so we brainstorm ideas and all of that. Our new theme for the festival is being worked on. We've had conversations around it. Last year we did something about the Congo and underneath the Nile. So part of our motive is also to be able to sort of reconstruct some of the historical narrative that we think, not that we think, but are not being appreciated to the system and also being misrepresented. So we do a lot of research and things like that, and then we bring some of these issues to the public's attention and have conversation, have dialogues around it. So what we basically do is that every piece of art that is produced reflects the theme. So we've gone through different phases from water matter to underneath the orbs. We're talking about climate change.
Cool.
We talk about respect for gender. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we did, we had like, there was a gate parade,
Like a parade.
of a sort, like basically where like,
Whereas like the
not
LGBTQ
Yeah.
movement is very much being
Being
squashed, and there's some
squashed,
laws trying to
exactly.
be passed.
yeah, but we work with,
Sounds familiar.
So yeah,
we work
it's
with some of the artists in that space, and for us, we just so one of our friends who is also in the space, like, is an artist, brilliant artist, and he came, he did some work for us and things like that. So we're still in, and yeah, I think it's also my happy place,
Yeah.
and also contributed to projects back home in Ghana, my hometown, Pram. There's one of my cousins has a local social media platform, it's a YouTube channel that discusses day-to-day issues and things like that in our local language. It's also for us like trying to language preservation and also language
Cool.
expansion. Also because there's also a lot of migration as well. For example, now I'm here with the boys. I
Right.
need to have a duty of care to see how they appreciate my language as well.
Okay.
So I see my involvement in a project like that as also part of trying to sort of preserve the language, highlight some of the culture in the system, and also promote local tourism, because I believe that local tourism is promoted. Local business in the community will also get to make some money off it. So
Yeah.
I'm involved in a lot of things.
yes,
Yeah.
Really, really, truly.
it's always busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so excuse me. Coming back here to Germany, you have us here as visitors now, under a little bit of a different type of circumstances. But how many people have you had come and visit you here in Germany since you've been here?
We had Paul come. Paul is a friend of mine, he's a photographer. He was at the Olympics.
Yeah, he was helping cover the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
He
yeah.
came.
He came, he spent like 2-3 days with us.
We've had. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like at least 10 different people have
Oh
come
my
through
goodness.
here.
Over 2
Pajon
years?
has
That's
come.
so
Pajon,
impressive.
and then,
Yeah, Pajon is one of our friends.
Wow.
He's a brilliant cook.
I feel like
He's
a
an
lot
artist.
of Ghanaians who happen to be somewhere in the vicinity, because Annie is Annie and so amazing
Knows everyone.
and knows everybody. We just have had a lot of people pass through.
That's cool.
And then I've had my mom has come a couple times, which is great. Would love to have more people from the States come.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'd say quite a few people have passed through.
That's awesome.
Maybe it's just for a night or something. But I think it speaks a lot to the type of person that Annie is, with his connection to
Yeah.
people. That we have had so many great visitors. It's been
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I think for us, we love to live in a more like what I describe as the minimalist process of where our doors are always opened. It is,
Yes.
yeah, we are here, but it's everybody's home as well.
That's why there was
That's
no
how I feel.
hesitation. Like
I know.
when you guys said like, oh, can we pass through? And I was like, I said yes before I even checked with him,
You-
because I knew he was
yeah.
gonna say yes.
And you
know?
said yes indefinitely, and I was like, I don't think she's gonna think that, but that's so nice.
But it's been really nice having you guys, and I know the boys have just been having so much fun together. So.
It's been so good for all of us. Okay, so we're moving on. We're so close to being done. You have mentioned, since we've been here, a few traditions, these German traditions. Sometimes they're school, sometimes they're other things. Do you have a favorite that you've run into so far?
I'm gonna speak to the favorite of our oldest son.
Okay.
It's called St. Martin's.
Okay.
It happens in November. I don't really understand all of it, but it's this really cute tradition where it has to do with this St. Martin, who was like a former Roman soldier or something. And in the cold, he gave part of his cloth to some person on the street. Anyway, it's about being kind and things. And during that time, the kids make lanterns
Okay.
at school. And they follow a person dressed up as a Roman soldier on a giant horse, like a huge horse, doing a little parade, and they sing this really sweet song. And then they go up, and we have a giant bonfire up by the big shoe tree.
What?
And during that time, there's special like donuts, like special pastries that we hand out to all the kids. and special like tea and stuff. And it's just like a very sweet. It's not about like getting a bunch of candy or things
Yeah.
like that. And it was one that I knew nothing about,
Yep.
and I really love that tradition. And I know
And
that
it's
our
honoring
oldest,
kindness.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called St. Martin's. What about you? What's one of your favorite?
Yeah, I think
traditions?
I think for me I like the Bausch parties here, like the community where we live. You know, like in the summer they have carnival where everybody comes. You know, everyone comes out to and for me I look at it from the perspective of the support. So like they lay out the different parts, all the things to be done, and then you can sign up your name.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
community
okay.
like WhatsApp platform,
Yeah.
right? And they'll say, "Oh,
Okay.
we're having a summer festival, and who wants to do setup and clean up and all this
everybody
stuff?"
just
And
contributes.
yeah, like the St. Martin's thing, I signed up to help pass out those pastries, right? And I think it's important that we are integrating as much as we can into the community here. And I grew up in a place where you have a lot of community events, and you just participate. You don't think twice about
Yeah.
it. And I know in Ghana, we also were always very involved with the community there. And so the different events here have been really fun.
It's really cool. Thank you. Okay, and we have one last thing. Oh, actually, two last things.
Or,
First thing is you've both moved around a bit. Can you see yourself here long term? You've lived in different places.
I think I try not to put dates. You know, I just very much open, but I'm very much also connected to back home in Ghana. You know, because we also have some few things going on there as well,
And your family.
the family is there as well, and the good thing is that she's more Ghanaian than
Oh, right.
American now, so at least it tilts towards that side of town. But I mean, for us, so far as the kids are still where they are, you know, we just have to run the dates alongside that. But
Okay.
Ghana is not shut for us, so if
Yeah.
but for us, we're very much open to pushing through that. It works here.
Okay.
Because eventually, like if it works for the kids as well.
Okay.
The priority for us is that the children become better version than us as parents,
Yeah.
but also guide them. And if they take off, you know that you can go to bed and sleep and know that they're comfortable in their own spaces and things. Yeah. So, I mean, opportunities that we never had that they should have. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, just ditto. I mean, I think we're doing okay here. It's taken a lot longer than we anticipated to really kind of get settled with everything. German bureaucracy is crazy, but for right now, I think this is working for us. But if there's a time that it's not working for us, I think we would, be open to things too. And like Annie was talking about Ghana is more home to me than the States, and I think Ghana will always be home to us.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Never thought I would be here. Never thought I'd be in Ghana either. Never thought I'd be in the UAE either. So, life is interesting. You don't know what's around the next corner. But like we said, the main priority is the kids. And right now, this is going okay for us. So, yeah.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to say one last thing about Nick, who lost his voice.
Sorry, Nick.
And all of a sudden lost his voice. So I'm answering I'm not answering. I'm doing all the questions at the end. This is the very last question. Is there anything else you want listeners to know about your experience?
Yeah, I think for me, like if you want to come to Germany and live, I think start with the language. It's key. I mean, you hear voices like, "Oh, you just want to quick jump into making money, making stuff." But if there's opportunity for you to learn the language, it helps. You may not get everything perfect, but I think for Germans, one of the things is that as you continue to go and make mistakes in your language, they appreciate that you make mistakes speaking their language.
They're
That is
kind
not
about
at
it.
all, exactly. And
They
are very kind about it. And just take a day as it comes. There'll be frustrations and things like that. I'm not going to sit and say, "Oh, everything has been perfect." It's like, especially when you're in a certain space and then you move completely out of. But life is always about sacrifice and be convinced that it will work out no matter what. Like one of my friends who always, "Why won't it work?"
That's good.
I
Yeah.
like that. It's a very positive frame. Okay, anything else from you, Whitney?
I think I think how Annie ended it is nice. Why
It's
won't
about
it
perfect.
work, right?
It's about perfect. Yeah.
Things are gonna happen. Nowhere is perfect, but I think the only little bit I would share is don't be afraid to take the chance, take an opportunity. Because I'm so thankful that I have taken the opportunities that I have in life, and they've led me here, and they've led me to this great man and my family and everything. So, if you're thinking about doing something crazy like this, it's not going to be perfect, but it could be. Why won't it work? Could be a cool opportunity for you.
I love that statement. On that note, thank you so much for being our first guests.
Woohoo!
I'm excited for people to listen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We hope you enjoyed learning about these interesting and wonderful people. Please let us know if you'd like to hear more interviews in the future.
Stay tuned for future episodes of the podcast about our journey beyond the UAE, including one about our Germany experience, which never would have occurred without our unscheduled trip. Spoiler, we loved it.
Absolutely. As always, make sure to follow us on our Insta page, Nick Chels Gen Excellent Adventure, where we post additional info about whatever is going on at the time. You can also leave comments or drop us a message or question there. We will also make sure to put Whitney and Annie's IG handles there so you can see for yourself how interesting they are. But just to mention it right now, Annie's is at Pram Fisherman, and Whitney's is Wandering Wit 2727. So I'll go ahead and tag them when we start uploading the episode.
In the meantime, as always, be excellent to each other.
Have a great week, everyone.